So today we're having an interview with AVIA CEO, Mr. Louis, and so please tell us, introduce about the AVIA Association.
So we're the Asia Video Industry Association. So we grew up out of what was, I guess, the Television Association. But as you know, I mean, our industry is changing so much. Consumer habits are changing, technology is changing. So the way people consume content and video is changing enormously. And so we also actually changed our name just last year to become the Asia Video Industry Association. And so our aim is to encompass all of the people in the television and the video space, people who create content, curate their content, distribute their content. It doesn't really matter whether you're a linear television channel or whether you're a streaming on demand service, whether you're ad supported or subscription supported, you're all part of the ecosystem. And our role as the association is to try to lay solid foundations for that industry, because industry is changing, and we need to make sure that from a regulatory point of view, we have the government support so that our industry can grow and prosper. We've got to make sure that we deal with piracy, content theft, which is obviously rampant in Malaysia, but around the world, around the region. And we've got to finally bring people together to talk about how we grow our business, and that's really what we're here doing today at this conference, is giving the opportunity to different stakeholders in the industry to come together and talk about how we grow and how we face our challenges.
Yeah, so today is indeed a very informative exchange conference, but so what is the main objective that you want to conduct to the public about this conference?
Well, I think that the main thing is for the participants more than the public, and the aim is really, look, once you have the sort of the foundations of the industry in place, there are big questions in our industry today about changing business models. How do you combat piracy through the business model that you adopt? How do you monetize today? What is the role of advertising? The measurement of advertising is a big issue, because the way you measure traditional television is completely different to the way that you measure digital services. And so there's not a level playing field there. And so the focus really is to try and to get the brightest and the best of our industry here in Malaysia, international and local, to talk about how we grow a better business for all of us. And so we've got to talk about the consumer, we've got to talk about what the consumer wants, and how we give that to the consumer and create a successful business out of it.
What do you think about the dynamic between pay TV and free to air? Like, what is the dynamic between these two players?
I see, it's two sides of the same coin, and it's sort of coming together, because what you see is that advertising for pay TV is becoming more important. So they're experimenting with the advertising business model more and more as they adapt their services. And similarly, you see on the free TV side that they're experimenting with subscription services. So the two are really sort of they're complementing and they're merging to some degree. There are still sort of big differences, but at the end of the day, if you create content and you distribute content, there are really only two ways of monetizing it. One is through advertising, one is through subscription. And I think everybody today is grappling with trying to get the right balance between those two. And it's not a case that pay TV will never have advertising and free TV will never do subscription. There's in the world that we live in today, there's an awful lot of convergence of those two business models.
Yeah, okay. So other than just the pay TV, it covers with a lot of subscription that you mentioned. Subscription platforms come as a OTT player as well. So, but do you think that OTT will surpass the traditional broadcast in the future?
It's an impossible question to answer. I don't think traditional television is going anywhere very fast. I think growth is plateauing, stalling in some places, but it's not declining massively. I think there's still a big role for television to play, but clearly what we're seeing in Malaysia, around the region, around the world, is that people want to be in control. They want to watch what they want to watch, when they want to watch it, on the device that they want to watch it. So it's all about empowerment, which I think has to be a good thing. And in many ways, we're living in a golden age of content creation. You're seeing more local content being created in Malaysia today than ever before.
Yeah.
You're seeing more international content being created. So it's genuinely a golden era for content creation. Now, how that gets distributed and monetized, yes, increasingly people are looking at OTT services. So I think the future of, as we like to actually say, online curated content, to distinguish ourselves from sort of user-generated content, that role is only going to become bigger and stronger. But we have a big problem today, and that problem is piracy. Because piracy, I think, is stopping and preventing the industry from monetizing it in the way that it deserves to be monetized.
Yep, that's right. So as the piracy has become the biggest threat in the media industry, so how does it affect the media industry and the research conducted by AVIA? Like what is the impact?
So we've just done a recent survey, and what we've seen is that here in Malaysia, 50% of all connected Malaysians, which is pretty much everybody today, streams illegal content in some shape or form. So 50% of all consumers are pirating content today. Separately, you have 23%, so that's a quarter of the market, who've actually gone out and bought an Android illicit streaming device.
Yeah.
So it's like having pay TV, but without having to pay for it. Of that 23%, 2/3 are cancelling subscriptions to legitimate services. So that's having a profound impact. It's a question of, if you're going to walk into a shop and you're allowed to help yourself to something for free and nobody's going to stop you, that's what people are going to do. And so we as an industry, working together with government, need to be doing a lot more to put a security camera in that shop, to put somebody behind the teller, to make sure that we're making content available and at competitive price points. But I think that we're doing a much better job of that today than has been in the past. But we've got there's an education process as well. I mean, if everybody was to steal content, there would not be an industry. It's as simple as that. And if there wasn't an industry, then everybody would be the worse off for it. So, I mean, just because it's delivered over the internet doesn't mean to say that it's any less than a physical product. I mean, you walk into a shop, you buy a chocolate bar, you pay for it. It's the same concept. It's not rocket science.
Okay, that's a good point. That's why, like, with emerging of the medias that our team is actually trying to build up the education concept for the public to understand what is the value of the content.
ETBC have established the new Enjoy TV new media platform to meet the latest media trends. We have also successfully created our own TV streaming device, built in with various application services such as live TV streaming, video on demand, TV home shopping, karaoke entertainments, and smart home technology for all Malaysian users. Moreover, Malaysia market has been flooded with private Android TV box that have destroyed the effort of traditional media. And the TV box in infringement issue have no guarantee on good quality and services. In the future, Enjoy TV will continuously utilize our innovative research and development in AI, smart technology, and entertainment application services. We welcome industrial players who share the same vision to cooperate and kickstart in Malaysia, to enter Asia in the future with more and more business opportunity. Thank you so much.
So, but a part of that, we have been working closely with the government, and I'm sure AVIA has been working closely with the regulators and all that. So, other than that, what are the other reinforcements or other solutions that you think can help to overcome and eliminate the piracy issue?
I think everything's got to tick. So on the industry side, we've got to make sure that we're making content discoverable. One of the frustrations today is that content is becoming fragmented. There are so many different new services starting up. Consumers find it difficult to find content. So we've got to work with somebody to do a better job of making that content discoverable. We've got to be able to be flexible, as I think we are, in terms of the way people subscribe and the way that people access that content. We need to make sure that we work with government and do a better job of blocking sites on the internet whose sole purpose is to steal content and to make money for themselves. I mean, the thing you've got to remember about piracy is this is not a victimless crime. And it's not just small-time people trying to make a little bit of money here and there. It's actually organized crime on a big scale. And these piracy syndicates are making huge amounts of money. And they're not paying taxes. So that money's not going to the betterment of society or for the government. And so we have to do a much better job of closing those sites down. And I think we're at a stage where the internet as a means of distribution is... It's at an inflection point. We don't want a closed internet. We don't want lots of restrictions and everything. We want an open, democratic internet. But the internet has to be managed. It can't just be the Wild West where you can just help yourself to whatever you want just because it's the internet. That's not what a free and open internet's all about. The internet has to be managed. It has to be sustainable. It has to be responsible. And that's, I think, where, as societies, we are behind the curve. And so at the moment, we're leaving the doors to our shop open and saying, everybody come in and help yourself. Now, we've got to put that security camera in. We've got to put somebody behind the till. And we've just got to manage the internet a little bit better than we are today. And we can do that. I mean, and we see that happening all around the region. The most horrible stuff on the internet you don't find. You don't find terrorism videos and things that incite hatred and all of these things, because governments take that very seriously, and they try to they make sure that gets blocked. Now, we just need to get to a stage where people understand that piracy is just theft. It's just another word for theft. And it's not okay in the physical world to steal, and so it can't be okay in the digital world to steal either.
Okay. So does AVIA also work with technology partners, as you said, like to be able to control or to help the market to control the internet?
Absolutely. We've got lots of technology members that we work with very closely. They can do a much better job than we can by ourselves in terms of identifying the problem, doing the forensic investigation behind sort of websites, so that we can do a better job of making sure that we have a safe and responsible environment for video delivery over the internet.
All right. Okay. So also on top of the internet that we are talking about a lot of circling around the 5G and intelligence technology, how does it going to affect the media industry from this perspective?
So 5G is going to be big. It's going to have a big impact, because if you think about it, why do you need a faster mobile connection? To watch video. I mean, it's basically to watch video. I think pretty much any other service that you can do today is already pretty fast. And actually with a good 4G connection, video is not bad as well. But I think with 5G, it's to me, it's all about video. I think video consumption is going to explode. And so I think, again, it just puts more pressure on the industry to work together with government to make sure that we have the right framework before that explosion happens. And if that explosion happens in a responsible and in a managed way, then that's going to be the best thing ever for our industry. But it's got to be done that way. So the time is ticking.
What will be the upcoming plan for AVIA in 2020?
So look, the three pillars of our association: policy, piracy, and insight. So we want to deal with governments and partner with governments so that we have far-sighted regulation. We want to do a much better job in terms of putting the piracy genie back in its bottle and abating piracy. And we want to provide insight. We want to, as we are today, bring people together, talk about the business models, talk about how we evolve, talk about how we partner. And partnership, I think, is key. And that's one of the messages that I'm hearing loud and clear from the conference today, is that on a micro level, lots of people compete with each other, but actually on a macro level, everybody's in the same boat, everybody's dealing with the same situations, and people are realizing that partnering with each other is going to be the best way to grow and survive and prosper. And so honestly, I think in 2020 it's going to be really, for us, it's going to be focusing on those three core aims. And doing our part as the industry association to try and make the industry stronger, try and make the economy healthier, and to try and make the video industry better.
But what is the most impressive and involving business model that you have found in the past few years?
Oh, now you slip in the really hard one. There isn't one. I would love to give you an answer to that question, but there isn't one business model, because it depends on who you are. It depends on what content you have. It depends on what the DNA of your company is. And it really is different answers and different solutions to different people. So what iFlix is trying to do is very different to what Netflix is trying to do. What Disney is trying to do is very different to what Discovery is trying to do. I mean, everybody is in a different situation, and it depends on whether they're creating content, whether they're acquiring content, how much they aggregate, what genre they're in. So it is almost an impossible question to answer, and that's why conferences like this are so fascinating, because there isn't one answer. If there was one answer, we'd have found it. There are enough smart people in that room that there would be the answer, but there isn't. It's different for everybody.
Yeah, okay. That's a very great concept. All right,
Thank you, Coco.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.